Whoa, 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 whoa. That was dancing music. I felt like getting up, doing a little jig here.
Hey.
Another great day in paradise, and I am so excited. I want to say welcome to everyone. You know, it feels like I just got up at the end of the show last week, and we're here again. So I want to shout out to everybody, my friends, and all my business people that are out there in the audience tonight. And a shout out to a few special people, including the special lady in my life, Karima. Lady, how are you this evening?
I am awesome. I missed you guys last week.
Well,
I really, really did.
We're here again tonight. Anybody you want to shout out to, lady?
Of course, I would definitely love to shout out to my wonderful husband, Mr. Davis, and I will see you soon. And to all of my family and friends that have chimed in and taken a look at us this evening, and thank you so much.
And if you haven't guessed it, this is the show.
Yes.
Go handle your business.
Go handle it.
Take care of it.
Absolutely.
It will take care of you if you take care of it. Okay, well, you know our website, www.gohandleyourbusiness.com. And if you want to communicate with us by email, it's info@gohandleyourbusiness.com. info at gohandleyourbusiness.com. Now, if you want to communicate with us by way of our personal emails or by phone number, for me, that would be 678-851-7352. 678-851-7352. And my email address is Sandy English, yes, Sandy English, 918 at gmail.com. What about you, lady? What's your contact information?
Well, my contact information would be my phone number, 404-281-2293. That's 404-281-2293. And to reach me by email, you can go to Lady Lee at live.com.
Okay.
Lady Lee at live.com.
All right. Well, we're here for the business community.
Mm-hmm.
And that does not mean that we don't want anyone in the audience who's not in business. But we want those who are thinking about getting in the business, those who may have just started their businesses, and those who've been in business for 10, 15, 20 years. This is your show. We have something for everyone every week. We want to touch everybody's heart and soul in your business because we want you to grow and expand and prosper and make money, but help other people, giving value. That's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
But we always start with the Spirit. And so I'm going to ask Lady to start us off with a prayer.
Oh, absolutely. Dear precious Heavenly Father, Jehovah, we humbly approach your lofty throne of undeserved kindness, thanking you for this day and this opportunity to come together as business owners and those that are seeking to learn more and more about how to build business, keep business, and to have you at the forefront, because we know with all of our businesses, in order for them to prosper, we have to have you first. So we thank you so much for your spirit, your guidance, and your direction, and we ask that you please forgive us of our sins and shortcomings, all in the name of your precious Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Okay, thank you so much. Amen. Shalom. Hallelujah. Thank you. Okay. Well, let's see. What is going to be our journey tonight? I know ladies are going to share some information with you about personal development, how that relates to business and the success of your business.
Absolutely.
She's also going to share some information with you about a book called Speed Wealth, giving you some ideas about that. And I'm going to talk with you about the concept of the millionaire from Babylon, okay? The richest man in Babylon. He was a businessman, and he taught concepts to show people how they could become wealthy starting from nothing. I'm going to share that with you because if you're in business, and I said this in the first show, you're not in business simply to live from hand to mouth. Mm-hmm. You want to build a business so you can help other people and that you can prosper and you get to the point where your business will take care of you without you having to be there every day. Yeah. I mean, that's ideal. Mm-hmm. Okay? And that means that you want to get to the point where you can sell that business for millions and millions of dollars and then do whatever you want to do, or build the business so you can leave it for someone else or your family to operate while you travel around the world doing things that you want to do. Mm-hmm. That's what business is all about. And so certainly we're going to talk about that concept. And then there's another book I have here that I'm going to share with you tonight, and that's called How to Prosper During Hard Times. How to Prosper During Hard Times. Okay? And that fits right in with business and spiritual concepts that you can employ so you can move through this, what they call recession. I never bought into it.
Right.
Okay? Because it doesn't apply to me, because my good comes from one source, and that's God. Not from the government, okay? Not from a job, not from my mate, not from my parents. It comes from one source. For me, that's God. And so when you understand that, then you don't have to participate in the reception, because spirit does not know about the reception. Is that right, lady?
I totally do understand what you're saying with that.
Okay, so where would you like to start tonight, lady?
Let's see. Would you like for me to start with the speed well?
That sounds good to me.
Okay, well, we will jump right on into that. As you know, personal development and that department is one of my favorites, and that's what I have a lot of passion for, because as a business owner, the personal development, you are your business. So you have to work harder on yourself than you do on your business. Now, the book that I'm going to give some tips out of is called Speed Wealth by T. Harv Eker. And I don't know if you are familiar with that author. He also wrote The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind and a few others. Correct? You know some of the others?
I don't know of any others right now, okay. But I did see something on my email just a couple of days ago that the book that you're going to talk about, you can get it free.
Oh, okay.
Now what I have to do is find out what we have to do to get it, and we'll let everybody know next week.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay.
That sounds good. Well, I'm going to jump right in there and get some info here. Now, when it comes to that, one of the first things with speed wealth, well, one is understanding wealth and knowing that wealth is not a bad thing. Unfortunately, there's a lot of negativity when you talk about rich, when you talk about wealth. And that's unfortunate that that's the case, and that's also the reason why we don't have a lot of it out there. But to gain wealth, you first have to position yourself for it. You cannot expect to have wealth if you do not prepare or position yourself to receive wealth. You do have to believe it and know that it's something that you can have for yourself. So you develop that mindset for speed wealth. And once you believe it, you can achieve it. Number 2, you want to make sure that you're delivering a huge value to the marketplace, because you're going to be getting paid in direct proportion to the value that you bring to the marketplace. So if you want to be paid the best, you have to be the best at what you do. And a part of being the best at what you do is you got to have your personal development in place. So you'll see throughout this why personal development is going to be a key element in doing that. You also have 2 specific elements that you want to keep in mind when it comes to a business. That is being in the right business at the right time. That is very, very important. Being in the right business at the right time. What do you think about that?
Oh, I think that's certainly important. I mean, understand that sometimes people get in the wrong business at the wrong time. Now, let me give you an idea of what I'm talking about. We are in the information age, not the industrial age. And so people should be focusing on businesses that are in harmony with the information age, computers and technology and information and iPads and all that kind of stuff. And if you're getting into something talking about maybe with farming, okay, that was the industrial age. Industry, that's the industrial age. So I think she's correct on that point, but continue, lady.
Okay, absolutely. Now, I'm going to be giving a total of 8 tips that I'm talking about here that come from the book Speed Wealth. And I've gone over the first 2. The first one, again, was developing a mindset for the Speed Wealth. The next one, number 2, was deliver huge value. And number 3 were the 2 elements of the right business at the right time. And now that is also a skill that can be learned when it comes to that. You have to learn about business and the timing of business, because the T in timing is much more important than the T in talent when it comes to business. Number 4 is you want to systemize your business. Use business systems that are repeatable to produce a profit. Okay? Number 5 is the duplication process. You can pretty much use that as the cookie cutter approach. You take the cookie cutter, you roll out your dough, and you just keep pressing, and you got the same shaped cookies that come out every time, and there's nothing wrong with those cookies. Then leave the cookies alone, keep making the cookies, and make the profit. Okay? Number 6. Now this is huge. But wait, with the duplication, what you have a nugget about the duplication part?
Well, when you can duplicate yourself, that's a way that you began to amass wealth such that you don't have to be there to make money.
Right.
That's the whole duplication process. If you can find people under you to do what you do as well as are better than you, then you can move away and still earn money because you got people doing what you've done because they duplicated your system. And that's the way the world evolves. I mean, building cars, they build one and then just duplicate that process. They don't have to reinvent the wheel to do the next car that is precisely like the first one.
Right. Absolutely. And just what you said lines right up with number 6, which is the leverage. Because through the duplication, that's how you're able to build leverage. And that's where you work smart and not hard. Work smart and not hard. Now, the way you can take advantage of this, the mindset for this is, how can people take advantage of what it is that I offer even when I'm sleeping at night? Now think about that. Of course, you're going to have the duplication, and then we have all these different time zones. So while we're up, others are asleep. When they're asleep, we're up. So do we have something that we have in place that can reach those other areas as well? And then 7. Now 7 is huge. This one is the cashing out, as Sandy brought out. When you go in business, the ultimate goal, you want to begin with the end in mind. And one thing that he has here is start with the end in mind. And it says you will never make as much money running a business as you will by selling a business. Now that is something to think about. Because when we go in business, a lot of times the last thing we're thinking about is being able to sell that business. But that, according to Speed Wealth as well, is a key element to keep in mind. Begin with the end in mind. What do you think about that?
I think that's important, and I don't think people always do that when they're starting a business. I want to do something, I like to do this, and they just start it. They don't give a lot of thought to it, and we're here to say that's not the right way to start, okay? And for those out in the audience who are thinking about starting a business, or those just getting started, it's so important for you to have a coach or a consultant, because they'll help you understand the process so you can set up your foundation the correct way. I can't overemphasize that, and it's taken me a long time to realize that. And I think I said last week this: you know how good Kobe Bryant is. You know how good Michael Jordan was, okay? At the peak, at the apex of their careers, they still had coaches. And it wasn't the coach who was the coach on the team. They had someone who was not on the payroll of the team that was coaching them. My understanding with Kobe Bryant is he has a coach. If I'm not mistaken, he's in Chicago or someplace. After every game, Kobe calls him and he talks to Kobe about what he can improve on, what he can do best, and critiques that game. When we're in business, we need that same type of situation. We need consultants. We need coaches. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Don't be sorry. That was awesome. We all need that. And it's a good reminder, even for us, because we have coaches as well.
Absolutely.
And wouldn't be without them. And I'll be touching on that with some of the other tips that I'll give a little bit later on. But the next one, number 8, it ties right into the name of our show about go handle your business, because it says do it now. Whatever it is that you want in the future, practice it now. So you have to go handle your business. It is not going to happen without you acting upon it. And, you want the journey to be sweet. You want to enjoy the journey along the way. So there's a recipe that you even begin with, and this is really, really huge. Now the recipe is enjoy your journey by blending money with meaning. Okay? Blend your money with meaning. Blend your profit with purpose. Blend your profit with purpose. And your street smarts with heart. Your sweetheart. Okay. Your street smart with heart. Okay. So, and you think about that. That gives you the meaning. That's going to give you purpose. And when you're doing it with the heart, now that's where the integrity and the positive motivation should come from, the trustworthiness. And a lot of these things are not things that we are just naturally doing. And there again, that's where personal development, working on yourself, is going to be a continuous process. You're never going to ace it all out. It's an ongoing process. It's going to be a constant growth. What do you think about that?
I agree with that. And there are 2 words I want to share with you. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on them tonight. I'll come back to them, but I just want to throw them out there and allow you to be thinking about it. And this is something you should be thinking about if you're thinking about getting in the business, you just started your business, or if you're already in business. And the first word is monetize. Monetize. And the second word is residualize. Residualize. Now, what does that mean? That means that you want to create your business and have something that you can have make money for you when you're not even around. Okay? It will make money for you. And to residualize it, it means that it will produce money for your retirement, if you want it for retirement, and you don't have to be there. And those are 2 things you need to be thinking about all the time. If you're doing something, how can I monetize this? How can I make money from what I'm doing? And number 2, how can I residualize it so it'll make money for me when I'm not even here? Right. Okay, so we'll touch upon those 2 terms a little later. The other thing, going back to what Lady was talking about, I'm just going to throw out a little nugget to you of an example of your mindset as you venture out in business, and that would be this. Just imagine that you had a product, a service, that you could put on your website, okay? And that product or service was in such great demand all over the world that people could buy that product from your website and pay for it when you're sleeping, when you're traveling, when you're vacationing.
Absolutely.
Okay? That's what you really need to be looking at, because that's what it's all about. Creating a situation where you can make money when you don't have to be there. You can be making money 24/7.
Yep.
That's taking advantage of the age that we're in now, which is the information age. Mm-hmm. So start thinking about, what can I offer that people will want and demand, and they'll be asking for it. And here's the beauty of this. There are ways to set up that type of concept, and you don't even have to create the product. Somebody has already created it for you. All you've got to do is go to a company that manufactures that product, work out a deal with them where you will have that product on your website, and when someone comes to your website and decides to buy that product, they pay for it by PayPal, and then when the money comes in, it goes to the manufacturer. The manufacturer then puts the order together and sends it out to the person who bought it, and then deposits your profit in your bank account, and you never missed a beat.
Absolutely.
Is that a good idea?
That's incredible.
That's what you want to do. Mm-hmm. That's just one concept, okay? Mm-hmm. Now, the other thing I want to talk about, sort of in line with what the lady was talking about tonight, and this is from the book, The Richest Man in Babylon. If you know anything about history, Babylon was a really wealthy part of history. Mm-hmm. And a book was written by George Clason. You want to get the book. It's called The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clason. George's last name is Clason, George S. Clason. Okay? And this says the success secrets of the ancients. The most inspiring book on wealth ever written. The most inspiring book on wealth ever written. I've read this book at least 2 or 3 times. But here's a few nuggets from the book. It says here, money is the medium by which earthly success is measured. Money makes possible the enjoyment of the best the earth affords. Money is plentiful for those who understand the simple laws which govern its acquisition. And lastly, money is governed today by the same laws which controlled it when prosperous men thronged the streets of Babylon 6,000 years ago. Basic concepts. It may sound a little different, but when you boil it down to its lowest common denominator, the concepts that applied 6 years ago will apply today. And here are some of those concepts. It says, lo, money is plentiful for those who understand the simple rules of its acquisition. And here's some of those rules. First one, it says, start thy purse to fattening. Start thy purse to fattening. What does that mean? That means that you need to figure out a way where you can start increasing the money you have.
Right.
Let it start working for you. Mm-hmm. Number 2, control thy expenditures. Mm-hmm. Control thy expenditures. That basically means don't spend money if you don't have to. Spend money on the essentials. If you don't have to buy something, don't buy it. Put the money to work for you. Okay? If you have to, cut back on what you're doing, trim down to the bone, so you can begin earning money. Now, one of the, if you want to call it criticism, you can, or you can call it an observation. I remember in the day when we, and I'm speaking to at least those of African American descent, as young kids, we go out and buy these shoes that would cost $25 and $30. Mm-hmm. Why? I mean, there were kids who were buying Michael Jordan shoes for, what, $200? You can get the same sneakers for $25. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't put down Michael Jordan for doing what he did and what he's still doing. But sometimes I think that we're not wise in the use of money. And if we can get what we need for $25, why pay $200 for it for somebody to say he's wearing Michael Jordan shoes? Who cares? If the shoe can do what you need for $25, get the $25 shoe. Let me keep going here. Make thy goal multiply. I mean, you got to make the money multiply. And
Right.
let's take what's happening in this market. You can take your money and put it in a savings account and earn 2 or 3, and maybe if you're lucky, 4%. Or maybe you can find somebody who is getting started in business, who has a great idea, and maybe invest that same money with that person, and 5 years from now make millions of dollars, a lot more than what you'd get in 5 years at 2 or 3% on the same money. Now that's what angel investors do. They take some of their money, invest it in ideas, invest in other people, so they can have a big payday rather than a little payday earning 2 and 3% interest. Next, guard thy treasures from loss. Guard thy treasures from loss. And what that means is you don't want to invest in something that's very risky. You want to take chances. And if he who ventures gains, and he who doesn't venture doesn't gain.
Right.
So you've got to take some chances, but you've got to be careful when you take the chances. Some things you just know it's not going to work. Okay? If it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true, and you shouldn't be getting involved in it. That's just the reality. Okay? Next point is, make of thy dwelling a profitable investment. Make of thy dwelling a profitable investment. What it's saying is, one of the first things you should do is buy a home and let that be part of your investment portfolio, because property increases in value. Now, and I have to say, in this market, property values are still going down.
Right.
But if you know anything about the history of real estate is like a pendulum. It swings up and it swings down. But it's always going to swing up and always going to swing down. So when you buy in real estate, you have to be prepared to hold on to it for about 5 to 7 years. And if it's down when you buy it, it will go up. But if you buy real estate with the view that you're going to keep it for a year or 2 or 3, you're going to lose. Okay? So you've got to buy a home, buy some property, and let it be part of your portfolio. Number 6 here. Ensure a future income. Ensure a future income. And how do you do that? Well, you put aside some that you never touch.
Right.
You put it aside and let it just keep, and you live off of the interest. So it's always going to be there, and you can pass it on to your children or your heirs. Okay, you put it aside and leave it there and just live off of the interest. And the last one, it says, increase thy ability to earn. Increase thy ability to earn. That means you diversify. Find other things you want to get into. And I was listening to someone talk, and they talked about the guy who owns the Miami football team. I think he started off in the trash business, and he was successful in that. And then once he would start making money in the trash business, he ventured from that, and then he bought I think the Miami Heat basketball team. He bought the Dolphins. He bought the Miami hockey team. But he took one venture, was successful at that, and then moved to other things. And that's what you want to do also. So you want to increase your ability to earn. So what do you think about some of these concepts, lady from The Richest Man in Babylon?
I think those concepts are very, very valuable and definitely needed. And it does change the view of how we're used to dealing with money. You brought out the point about the things that we spend money on. And, of course, everyone's values are different. However, you do want to be reasonable, and if you are reasonable with things, and I thought it was funny about the point you were making about the shoes, and saying if you have some other shoes and they serving the purpose, then do that. And at the same time, you also think about the fact that especially when it comes to our children and the young ones, we are planting those seeds, but at the same time, their feet are going to be growing. So it's not like they're going to be able to continue wearing those shoes as far as if it were an investment or something. Even as adults, we can buy some shoes and we know they're going to last a long time if we're taking care of them, because that's another thing. You have to appreciate what you have in order to have more. And if you abuse what you have now, the message that you're sending out to the universe is that, I'm an abusive person. So there again, that's where personal development, I'm going to always be able to point out and show how personal development is a key factor in success in life, period. Because we have to learn how to deal with each other. We have to learn how to deal with ourselves. We have to learn about accountability, responsibility. And those things are skills that are taught, and we have to learn those things. One of the things that you brought out, too, I was thinking about, if I would have started and I call it the FFA, Financial Freedom Account, that's the account that you always put in little something in, but the goal and the intention there is to never touch the money. Now, we didn't grow up thinking about, you mean you telling me to put some money up and live off the interest? Are you serious? I mean, what is that? We have a hard time dealing with the concept of pay yourself first. And put aside 10% so you can begin to grow that money into the FFA. But as you grow in personal development and you look in the financial area of personal development, you will find a lot of key areas with that. And that book is definitely talking about and focusing on the disciplines of wealth when it comes to the personal development that ties into it, because that takes discipline. And number one, you're going against the grain of what is norm. However, if you're around the wealthy, that is common for them. But unfortunately, we have more of a broke mentality, which the mentality is what produces the outcome. And regardless of how we may feel about it, whether we want to accept it or not, it's still going to be the fact that whatever it is that you're planting and whatever your mindset is, your actions are going to follow according to that.
Okay, and this is a business show, and somebody might be saying, well, does all this stuff tie into business? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And if you don't apply this type of attitude and this type of mindset, you're not going to be successful in business. And the really wealthy people, they adhere to the concepts that we're talking about. So business is not simply opening a store and start selling. You've got to have a right mental attitude.
Right.
You've got to have a spiritual foundation. Mm-hmm. You've got to do some personal development. It all goes hand in hand in being successful in business. And if you don't apply these theories, you're not going to be successful.
Right.
And let me just say this. All the concepts that we're talking about, and all the concepts in the success books, and all the concepts that you hear from the great motivational speakers, they are all founded on the Bible, on the Quran, on the Torah, on what other spiritual books and philosophy books there are, because they were created by the Spirit. Okay? And almost all this stuff, you're going to find a basis for it in the Quran or in the Torah or in the Bible or other spiritual books that I can't name now, but that's where these ideas come from. You agree with that, lady?
Yes, I do agree with that, because I think that with wealth being a mentality, because first of all, it is a mindset. And when it comes to spirituality and the things that we learn from there, regardless of what your spiritual background may be, it's still focusing on your mentality. And, if we serve a happy God, and we serve a God of love and a God that gives, and think about it, when you apply giving in a business perspective, like I just said, you're going to be paid in direct proportion to the value that you give. So it's all about wealth on a whole positive note, like a healthy wealth. The difference is when you're doing it for the right reasons, doing it the right way, and with the right motivation, that is key to all of that.
Okay. God said, I will never forsake you, and I will never leave you. And he can say that because he's given us the foundation to be successful in this universe. And we just have to apply it. But let's move on and talk about more specifically how the concepts of personal development relate to business and will help you be successful. Lady, are you ready to embark upon that? Personal
Sure.
development?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, that's what I feel like I've been doing the whole time, because I'm always tying things back into personal development. And like I said, you have to basically, with us being in the information age, you are pretty much, whatever your name is, just put .com behind it. Because when we think about that, if someone could just go onto the computer, type your name and put in .com, and up comes the value that you bring to the marketplace. And let's say up comes your attitude, up comes previous encounters, up comes your daily activities of what you're doing, up comes information about your background or what it is that you're offering. You have to think about what would you want that to look like. So you can't just be saying, okay, here's my product, but don't pay attention to me or how I conduct myself or how I look or how I carry myself or how I talk. It's not about me, it's about the product. Well, the product is you. So all of that is you. So when it comes to personal development, that includes your grooming, that includes your health, that includes your mentality, that includes the physical aspect, that includes the mental aspect. Those are all aspects that contribute to you as a business owner.
Okay, and let's just talk about a couple of things. I don't want to call it negative, but again, it's something that we need to address, particularly with young people who are starting business. And young people may be someone who is 15 years old or 12 or 13, or someone who may be 25 or 30. Now, hopefully, at one of the programs in the future, I'm going to have my precious lady, Karima, come on the show. And what she's doing, she is teaching kids how to be entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. She takes them and she walks them through all the concepts to set the mindset and all the concepts of being successful. And then at the end of this process of this course, they actually come up with a product or service, and they invite the parents and other people in to buy those products or services. That is a great idea.
Absolutely.
And I wish I had something like that when I was growing up. Mm-hmm. So we'll be bringing her on to talk about something like that. But what I want to do now is talk about some negative things that are important to understanding why they should not be the case. Lady, let's talk about 2 or 3 things that we have seen in the marketplace by people that we don't think are good concepts or habits when you're in business. Okay, let me give you an example of this, and lady, once I say this, maybe you can come up with 1 or 2 also.
Okay.
Just imagine this. You just started your business. You are 20 years old, and you want to be successful. You've got a good concept, and now you've got people calling you because they want to buy your product. And when they call you, they get your voicemail. And what they get is 3 minutes of hip-hop music. Now, I'm here to tell you that a business person who is serious about business and has people calling should not be giving his potential customers 3 minutes of hip-hop music. That's not a good business concept from my way of thinking. What do you think about that, lady?
I agree with that. Now, one little curveball with that is if you are the one that's doing the hip-hop and that's your industry and you're catering to hip-hop people and your callers are looking for your music and your music is what they're hearing. But if you're selling something totally different and you do not have a professional voicemail message, it does say something about you. And a lot of times you will lose business. People will call and just absolutely hang up. It's like, okay, they must not have any idea at all about what business is, or they already can tell that you're new at business and they would rather deal with someone more experienced.
Yeah, and let me just extend that concept even further. if you've got your business going and you get 3 minutes of spiritual music, I don't think that's a good concept. I'm not opposed to spiritual music. No, I'm opposed to hip-hop music. But when the person calls you, that person has a mission. And to have them have any type of music other than information for that long is not a good business concept. You need to get to the point, get their information, and let them move on. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So that's one concept. Now, another concept that I have a challenge with is this. If someone takes the time to call you, it means that they got your business card, they got your phone number somewhere, because you're out there. They have the courtesy, they should get the courtesy of your return call. I know of situations where you can call someone 10 or 15 times and they never return the call. And I've heard people say, hey, he's one of those people who never returns call. They think it's a joke. It's not a joke. When you're in business, you've got to return people's calls. Okay, now if you don't want to return their call because you don't want to deal with them, then maybe you owe them one phone call and tell them that. But to not return phone calls when you're in business, in my opinion, is not a good idea. What are your thoughts on that, lady?
I totally agree with that. And it's amazing how people can be in business and have their cell phone numbers down. And sometimes they don't even have a voicemail set up. And the phone just rings. And it's like, okay, the phone is just ringing. And then, like you said about the concept of not calling people back. How you do anything is how you do everything. And if you're not calling them back at all, they could have been wanting to refer someone else to you as well. And one thing about business, when you're dealing with business people, if I use you as a referral and I'm going to pass your information on, keep in mind that now I'm attaching my profile to you. So do you really think that someone that builds a reputation of not returning calls would be someone that you would want to be passing on to someone else? Because it's going to be a reflection on you. Oh, well, you know, when she give you business cards, they don't even answer the phone. They don't call you back. You can't trust nothing coming from that. So you have to think about everything. And I think that is so true when it comes to the not calling people back. It's amazing.
Right. And let me just give you a current day example of developing a reputation where people like, trust you, and want to do business with you. I had a situation just in the last 24 hours where I got a phone call from a lady that I had done some business with, I'm going to say 2, 3, maybe 4 years ago, but more than 2 years ago. And quite frankly, I didn't remember the lady's name when she got me on the phone. And so she indulged me until I finally remembered her and her husband at the time and having worked with them. And so I talked with her last night, and we actually met today, and she's decided that she wants to get involved with my service again. She and her husband are now divorced. So I said to her, you had my phone number all this time? She says, no. She said, all the numbers I had for you, your email wasn't the same, the phone number wasn't the same. And I'm saying this must have been 3 or 4 years ago because I changed some of those things. I said, well, how did you get me? She said, I finally Googled you. And she said, the first time I Googled you, I didn't get anything. And she said, I didn't change it. I said, well, what'd you do different? She says, I just put pluses in front of your name, and I got you, and I got your phone number, and I called you last night. Wow. I met with her today, and I said, well, what was it that caused you to want to run me down? She said, I was so impressed with the service you gave us when we were with you 3 or 4 years ago. Spirit told me I was to talk to you and no one else, and I follow Spirit. Now, I'm not here to pat myself on the back, but that's an example of when you develop a good reputation, people will hunt you down.
Mm-hmm. And it's so funny that you said that, because I just had an experience with that, with a young lady that called me, and she was referred to me by a young lady, and I could not remember where I knew her from. And I actually met with the young lady, and I was asking her questions about it. I was like, well, I still don't remember her. So she told her that I didn't remember her, and she called me. She kept my cards from 4 years ago. And when she told me who she was someone that, now at that time, I was in a position where she was interviewing me. It was actually back when I was teaching, and it was a part of my teacher induction interviews. And she said, you conducted yourself so well. You made such a great impression on me. And I had just started that portion of my business where she referred business to me. And she said, I had always said I'm going to keep her cards, and I will always send business her way when I see that opportunity for that. And she knew other people that was doing the same thing that I was doing. She said, but you were the one that I had to do. There again, how you do anything is how you do everything. And I wasn't even operating as a business owner when I was dealing with her, because I was on the other side of that. But you see how my personality and how I handled her with the induction process. She saw the business still in me, because it's a part of your character that you carry around with you, and it transfers right over into business.
First impressions are lasting impressions. First impressions are lasting impressions. Well, let me sort of detour a moment here, because the show is sort of closing down. We've been talking a lot tonight, lady, about helping people in business. Mm-hmm. But I want to go a little further and help people understand this, that we're business partners, mm-hmm. and we specialize in working with and helping small businesses. Right. Okay? We have a program or plan for anyone who's in business, whether you're contemplating getting started, right. whether you just started, whether you're in business for 3 or 4 or 5 years, or whether you've been in business for 20 years. We can help you. Okay? We're not going to take the time to discuss all our plans and programs on the air, but I assure you that you can sit down with us without cost to you. We get to know you and your business. We ask you a few questions about your business, and then we can tell you what programs we can offer to you and what the cost would be. But I assure you that we have a program for everyone. Absolutely. So we gave you the information earlier in the show, how you can reach us. You can send an email to us at info@gohandleyourbusiness.com, or you can contact me at 678-851-7352. And lady, how can they reach you?
404-281-2293.
Okay. So if you're out there, you should contact us, because we can help you. And as I said, if Michael Jordan had a coach when he was at the peak or apex of his career, certainly you should have a coach, because the successful people have consultants and coaches. Now, we've got a couple of things that are coming up. We didn't get a chance to talk about networking tonight. Networking is very important, and you should always be networking and always marketing. Two things: you will not be successful in business unless you're always networking and always marketing. We have 2 events that are coming up in the next week or two, and I want Lady to share with you those each event, date, times, and places, because we'd love for you to be one of our guests.
Okay, absolutely. The first one that we'll have coming up is actually this week. It'll be this Thursday. That is the 20th, and it will be a lunching event at This Is It on Camp Creek. That's This Is It restaurant, and it'll start promptly. That's another thing, promptly being on time at 11:30, and there's going to be a live feeding at that event that's going to give even some more awesome tips on business, and it'll be an opportunity for you to share your business with others for that. And then we're going to have one on the 27th, the following Thursday. Now that's a breakfast event, and that'll be at the Malone's on Virginia Avenue. and that's going to start at 8:30, promptly at 8:30. The first one, the luncheon that's this week, that is a free luncheon, and you can eat on your own if you choose to. The breakfast event, there's a $5 cover charge for that, for the breakfast that we'll have there, and we'll have more stuff to come.
Okay, now
So those are the two events.
Is there a charge for the luncheon, lady?
No, there's no charge for the luncheon. That's what I said. You can eat on your own if you choose to after we're done with the presentation and some of the networking. We do some networking before and after, but that one is optional. But the breakfast is $5.
We suggest that you come to both of those events, bring 3 other business people with you, and bring lots of business cards, because I ask that everyone there should get at least 5 of your business cards so they can advertise and market for you. So bring enough business cards so you can give cards out to everyone who is there so they can market for you. The other thing that I ask people to do is, if you actually sell some type of product or service, you can bring it and sell it right there on the spot.
Absolutely.
Okay, so those are things that we're reaching out to you to help you to market your business, and we hope and pray that you will take advantage of it. Now, if you want to get the flyers on those 2 events like overnight, then send me an email and I'll send it to you overnight. SandyEnglish918@gmail.com. SandyEnglish918@gmail.com, and I'll send you those flyers. But come out, bring some people with you, and let's have some fun, and let's continue to make some money.
Absolutely. Sounds
well,
good.
Any final thoughts that you have, lady?
Well, I can always go on and on, but one of my final thoughts is focus on building your business and build it with the end in mind. Know that there are coaches out there. Duplication is important and copying is important, but you need to copy the right cat. And we're going to continue this. I'm looking forward to bringing you even more info from Speed Wealth next week.
Okay, well, we've enjoyed the show tonight, and we look forward to having some fun with you next week. We're going to talk about networking next week. We're going to talk about marketing next week. I have some good tips for you both on network and on marketing. I've got 3 or 4 books that I'd like for you to share with you and have you read those books. And we're just going to continue to have some fun. But if you have some ideas, you have some questions, you want to share some ideas, and more importantly, if you'd like to be on the show,
absolutely,
be on the show to sponsor your business, that can be arranged. Get in touch with us. So be blessed. Have a great evening. Just know that God is with you. You are blessed, and we will see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you.